Today I fucked up by taking a photo with one of my friends I've known for 8 years and it made my girlfriend dump me. This story is pretty long and wild, so I'll try to make it too long. Did not read. At the bottom. So I was with my ex since high school. It was my senior year we started dating. We were together for almost 5 years. It was the best time of our lives. We always talked about the future and how we love each other so much. We shared hobbies, playing video games, sports, going out together to bars with friends. However, her life got kinda messy halfway through the relationship. First of all, she lost all of her friends because she claimed they were mean to her. She would come home crying, hanging out with her friends, saying how they would bully and exclude her in conversations, deliberately being mean. And after about 6 months of that, she essentially cut them off and was left with just me as her real only friend. Which was fine because we were definitely best friends and I had a very large social circle that accepted her and she liked them all. Okay, so now she's going to university, she makes a couple good friends. However, like 6 months later again she stops being friends with them because they are excluding her and not inviting her. Pretty much the same thing, and she didn't try to put any effort in and once again didn't have anyone else but me. Which once again I was fine with and supported her no matter what. However, where the issues started to affect our relationship is when she dropped out of university going into second year. She pretty much just sat at home by herself or was with me and smoking a lot of weed with no real future plan at the time and saw no issue with it. Me though, I'm very motivated and was in a very intense fast-track college program to become a pilot, and I think that maybe intimidated her? I'm not too sure. But whenever I would try to talk to her about careers or school, she would get mad and kinda just never come to a conclusion. Okay, so fast forward to spring, she gets a job at a private golf course. She absolutely loved working here. She is an absolutely beautiful blonde girl that makes really good money with tips, and the environment has some type of cult-like feel to it where every member knows her name and gives her kinda of a purpose in life. If that makes sense. So first summer seems fine, she made money, had fun and made some new work friends. Fall though is coming up and she still doesn't know what to do for school, so decides not to go back. Fast forward to spring again and she is back working at the golf course more than ever and kinda acting differently. Like I said, we never got in fights ever that were so serious it couldn't be resolved in less than an hour or before bed. But this August she flipped out on me one day because she saw I took photos with another girl. Just us sitting beside each other on a couch. That has been in my social circle since elementary school, who she also has known now for 4 years. My girlfriend was also insecure, but I had no idea me taking photos would result in this. She saw the photos by going on my phone when I was sleeping, even though I always let her on my phone anyway. And a week later she called me at 12 a.m. bawling her eyes out, calling me a cheater and asking if I loved her still. And then like 4 days later she dumped me, completely blindsided. I was shattered. I should also note that her parents bought her a new dog to help with her mental state because she's been so off, and that dog died about 4 weeks before our fight. And they only owned it for about 5 months and it shattered her. Okay, so after she breaks up with me she tells me she still loves me and wants to talk to me every day. I was very confused by this. She also told me that she wants to get back together in the future and she just needs time to heal. So like 2 days go by of us talking. And I tell her that this is bullshit and isn't fair to me. So I initiate no contact, and this is about mid-August. Fast forward to end of August, the first get a phone call for a job offer at my first pick major airline. It was like a blessing from God. I'm a good-looking 22-year-old man that's going to be making $70 an hour with great opportunities ahead of me. So after we break up too, I learn she's been sneakily doing pills at work since last summer. She's been doing Adderall recreationally, and a work colleague who is a 50-year-old woman has been supplying them to her for free. Take into that this 50-year-old now hangs out with my 20-year-old girlfriend, just them two, drinking wine and doing Adderall together, and this is one of her only friends. Fast forward to September, she reaches out to me and wishes me happy B-Day. Then a week later she finds out about my new job, and reaches out again congratulating me and saying how proud she is and a bunch of small talk. Then another week goes by and it's our university homecoming. She doesn't have any friends though, right? So she decides to go out with her original high school friends who used to bully her to the point where she would cry and be shaking when I would pick her up. Later that day, I get a phone call from her but didn't answer because I was drinking and busy and just didn't notice at the time. So I texted her the next day just asking if she had something important to say. And she replied with, "Sorry, it was an accident. I highly doubt you can call someone by accident, especially when you don't talk anymore. Maybe I dodged a bullet? I don't know, this situation is very strange and messing with me mentally. Too long did not read. GF of 5 years randomly dumped me over one fight that wasn't even serious, but wanted to stay in contact and told me we'd be back together, and after the fact I found out a bunch of messed up issues and still am confused where my heart is at. Time to move on and look forward. You have a bright future and she will drag you through a ton of shit if you keep going. Run and don't look back, buddy. Trust this asshole. You have your entire life ahead of you and don't need her to bring you down. Congratulations on the new job. Focus on that. Look, someone else's life or lack thereof is not your problem, not your baggage, nor your consequence. Not your responsibility. It's not like she's your kid or wife or something, nor did you cause her path to go the way it did. You're not responsible. I wouldn't even look back. Don't check up on her on social media. Don't feel bad. You succeeded and she did not, your paths separated. It happens, bruv. She's coping with drugs and alcohol because she gave up while you and all her friends succeeded and left her behind. That's on her. Never feel bad nor apologize for your well-earned success. Learn to separate yourself from deadweight or you'll get drugged down. Honestly, that sounds like some genuine mental health issues popping up. Schizophrenia commonly pops up in late teens, early 20s. But, not your problem anymore. GIF. Giphy, EIM 624C8 NNNBIG 0 volts 3 grams. Downsized. Op. This is you. Today I fucked up by calling a girl fat. I, 35M, didn't actually use that word, but we all know it doesn't matter. I ended a 5-year relationship in January of this year. I started using dating apps in May and by July started seeing someone pretty regularly. In our first State of the Union talk we both agreed to a casual dynamic with open communication. Even though neither of us were interested in seeing other people, and during this talk both admitted to not having used the apps since we first met. I thought things were going well until the last couple of weeks when we hadn't seen or spoken to each other much. We finally got on the phone last night, and apparently a few weeks ago I had dove too deep into my previous relationship during dinner conversation. That didn't sit well with her and she thought I still had feelings for my ex. I explained that I didn't, which is the truth, and that while I had agreed to the casual dynamic, I was actually genuinely falling for her and just didn't say anything thinking it would betray our agreement or scare her away. Well, her feelings about my perceived attachment to my ex had been marinating too long to come back from, and she wanted to break things off entirely, thinking I wasn't ready for the next step. After explaining my side, I was just being nice and showing concern for the well-being of a person I used to share a life with, but have absolutely no lingering attachment to. She did feel bad for not asking about it sooner, and it seemed like maybe if I just left it there she might think about it for a few days and want to talk more. I was pretty disappointed, and as the call was winding down and in the spirit of open communication suggested we say anything we wished we had said earlier. Looking back on it now I still cannot believe I said this, and there's zero justification for it, but I made a comment about her weight. She had just started going to the gym again and I said I had been looking forward to the transformation. She doesn't need to lose any weight, and when she brought it up weeks ago I said she already looked great and that I was already very physically attracted to her. I think that's why I said it. I maybe meant something along the lines of, your body is great and I'm attracted to it, and I would only be more attracted to it if. My God, what an asshole I am. Naturally, she got very upset and ended the call forcing back sobs. I texted her right after apologizing profusely and sincerely. I'm horrified with my behavior and have never felt such shame and regret. Too long did not read. I really liked a girl, I talked too much about my ex, and then made an offhand comment about her weight while she was breaking up with me, all but guaranteeing she'll never speak to me again. Nice of you to remove any doubt she may have had about breaking things off. Nailed it. First rule of X. You don't talk about your ex. First rule of relationships with woman. Never talk about weight. Not even with a knife in your throat. But I think now those will be carved in your brain forever. Damn. That's a fuck up. Good luck with the next match. Try to learn your lesson from this one. What exactly did you say? Today I fucked up when I didn't give my number to a flight attendant. Earlier this week I, 19 female, started my 3-month traveling journey through Australia. While on my first flight over to Australia with Korean Air I fell in love with the flight attendant. Our first interaction was when I was lifting my backpack up to put in the overhead bins when someone grabbed it from me and put it in. When I looked, there was this beautiful Korean guy, the flight attendant in question. I thanked him. Later I asked him if he or one of his colleagues could come check on me after takeoff since I was afraid I was going to have a panic attack. He ensured me that he would be there for me if needed and that he would keep an eye on me. Everything went fine, and after the meal was served we started chatting a bit. I had the 3 seats to myself, which was nice cause we could have a good normal talk. At one point he came with a handful of snacks and a drink and all gave them to me. After that we started talking about my home county where we flew from in Korea. Both saying that we wanted to actually visit each other's home country someday. At one point it was 3 a.m. and almost everyone was asleep except me. Which at that point he come up to me again and we started chatting again. He asked me about my age, and when I told him I was 19 I could tell that he was a few years older by his reaction. Nonetheless we still continued talking. When we landed I was one of the last ones to get off the plane cause I don't like to rush and I had a 4-hour overlay anyway. At that point I was thinking about giving him my number, but I didn't have any paper. When I was grabbing my stuff we talked a little more and he asked me about my name. I told him my name and he told me his. At that moment I should have given my number. I deeply regret not giving him my number. I told him that if he is ever in my home country he should come and find me, and that I wouldn't know how but that he needed to. That's when I walked off the plane and already knew that I made a big mistake. It was a risk that I should have taken. So dear readers, if you ever meet a guy with the same story, let me know. And I will own my life to you. Too long did not read. I fell in love with my flight attendant and didn't give him my number. And now I have been regretting it every single day. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Wayne Gretzky, Michael Scott. When it comes to service staff, don't mistake kindness for flirting. It makes things awkward for both parties. Remember, they're being paid to be nice, sort of like strippers. Hint to guys. When the stripper flirts with you, they don't love you. You are their customer. Hint to op. Same thing. When service staff are nice to you, it doesn't mean they are hitting on you. Honestly, flight attendants are meant to be very friendly and accommodating. Not saying he wasn't flirting, but very well could have just been doing his job.